Hi all, we're in Burnham-on-Crouch at the moment, but this video is about Grimsby and Cleethorpes.
Where we had some problems with our fuel, we had some dirty fuels, had to change some filters there, so we talk about that a little bit.
We find some new wheels.
And I talk a little bit about Victorian architecture in Grimsby, because it was fascinating. There were lots of little bits of unusual architecture tucked in among the buildings there. I took a little trip to a heritage museum for fishing and visited the bridge of a 1960s-70s trawler. And we went along the beach at Cleethorpes and visited an art graffiti museum.
And we fly the flags to the regatta.
But first, some very, very sad news.
We had a lot of problems with Mally. It started off up in Whitby, where we took her to the vets, and it continued, so we went to the vet in Grimsby and we made the awful decision of having to let go of her and letting her go over the rainbow.
And so we wandered the docks of Grimsby, a little sad, and trying to get ahead around losing our crewmate. All these fish dock areas, I suppose it's obvious when you think of the names, but they're just disused. It's such a shame. This must have been as a result of all the changes in the fishing industry. Maybe this will come back. Yeah, maybe it'll come back with Brexit, who knows. This one's a little grubby and a very strange mast on it. I wonder what that is. I think we can all guess what that is. Mary was itching to get a scrubbing brush out and clean that down. Okay, so we have a little problem with our fuel at the moment. We have had the diesel bug, we've treated it, we've been putting new filters in, treating it, but that's basically what's in the bottom of our filters. So yeah, we'll just keep treating it and hoping we'll get rid of this, because it's not good. It comes up the filters and makes a mess. It makes a mess of me, and I get diesel everywhere, so Mary isn't happy with me.
And the engines and generator are coughing all the time.
Yeah, so we'll put a new filter in. The old filter's still looking not too bad. That one's the generator, that's the engine one. So the generator one's looking definitely
black.
So we'll just keep changing filters. We've gone through 4 in the last 3 days. Hopefully we'll get this sorted. The stuff the bug killer we're using is definitely killing the bugs. But while I was still at work on the boat, we made time to go and have something to eat. Hello, volcano. And Mary had the
Alla masala.
Hello, alla masala. How is it? Good. And we shared vegetables and chips. And the garlic bread was yummy, but we're going to take that home with us, I think. So I had the profiteroles. And what did Mary have?
Tiramisu.
And I think you got a bit more than you bargained for, eh? So you're taking it slowly with a teaspoon.
Yeah.
We found a coffee shop in Cleethorpes, which was superb. You got a meal in a cup.
I might have to nick one of your chocolate bits.
What did you get? Just plain chocolate? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. And the cheese on toast wasn't too bad either. What did you have? A scone?
Scone with the works, but it's just oozing everywhere.
Oh, so you're going to eat this cookily?
I don't know how I'm going to tickle up I can hardly really cut it.
How about a spoon? You've got a little spoon with your coffee.
I can hardly cut it, let alone do anything else with it.
Well, we did have to climb over a railway bridge to get to the beach. We have a little bit of an art gallery. And what's Mary watching? Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's like it's hidden in the rain showers, isn't it? So that's the beach. What little there is of it. We're going to go for a walk along the beach, I think. Yeah, beach was a bit disappointing. You see the differential in speed between going against the current and with the current. It's quite noticeable. I don't know that you can see it on the video. It's quite a selection of graffiti down here. Things seem to be quite a nice one. We're not too happy. Dracula's been here as well from Whitby. Bright red one. Good screen here. This is definitely. Yeah, That's a nice one. The colours there. And again, seems to be quite a lot of professional looking graphics here, but in other areas where you go to like this, where it's just scroll, really. Another bit of interesting architecture. This church is quite unusual in its design, isn't it? The tower for the spire is actually tapered and it's got buttresses on it. Obviously doesn't really need them, but beautifully built in brickwork. Another interesting piece of architecture here. Art Deco style. The Grimsby Corporation tramways. How about that, eh? 1925. More interesting brickwork is 1898 and 1894. Two, I guess they would be warehouses or at least workshops around the harbour, fish docks. So beautiful brickwork on these things, and look at the woodwork on the door and the iron hinges, beautifully made. So there must have been a bit of money around, and they had a bit of style back in the day. Some more Victorian engineering at its finest. A lift bridge across the river canal, and you can see some of the brickwork around here, so it must have been some place in its day. They did decorate everything nicely back in the day. They had civic symbols and all sorts of decorations like this fence. They look a lot more attractive than we seem to manage today with modern architecture. How about this for a piece of engineering? Look at that roller. It rolls down onto these teeth under here. Interesting weed here. It keeps seeing it everywhere. It's kind of almost like a green sea of the stuff. I don't know what it's called, but it loves the conditions. So, what have we been up to?
Well, we've had a very expensive trip to Grimsby. We were a bit cheesed off with our bikes, our little bikes.
Yeah, it's these ones.
So we walked as far as Cleethorpes this morning because I wanted to change the screen on my phone, which we didn't find the shop for. But we did find a vapour shop with a couple of things in the windows.
Oh, what are these?
So we looked at them, and they are electric scooters. They do 30 miles on one charge, and they go 19 miles an hour, which I don't think we'll be doing.
No, don't think so.
They've got lights, they've got brake lights, they've got a bell.
You talk to your phone.
They talk to our phones, yes, so I've installed the app for that. So we've got cruise control and comfort control.
Which will you be using?
I don't know yet.
Okay, I'm going to use comfort.
Yeah, I think comfort might be the way to go. Definitely not too fast. I think we'll kill ourselves.
And we're going to wear helmets, aren't we?
We might do.
Yes. Nod your head, yes.
Okay.
So this was the first test run with the scooters. Very gingerly and very wobbly, but yeah, we got away fine with them. And we will do a review of the scooters in the future, let you know how we're getting on with them and how they perform. On our cycle ride around Grimsby, we passed this dock area where they were dismantling trawlers, and this is the famous landmark as you enter Grimsby Harbour. What are you doing then?
I'm giving the decks another coat of sealer.
What's the sealer called?
Semco. Brilliant stuff.
And you like it, do you?
That's very good.
So what does it do to the deck then? Changes the colour and seals the top from water?
From getting the lot of the water getting in.
Makes it.
Done, but hey.
Well, carry on. And what's Paul been doing? Alright, and he's been in the dinghy. So it's having a break now. Break, hot chocolate and bickies for me and coffee for Mary. Boat's in a bit of a mess, but we're doing some cleaning, so that's our plan today. It was actually Grimsby Regatta the weekend we were there, so we got the flags out and we dressed the boat. But boat work's never done. So I'm working on the outboard today. I've cleaned it. It wasn't running very well and it was kept stopping as we went away from the boat, so you get 5 minutes from it and it stopped. So it seems to be a fuel problem. So I've had the fuel, swapped the fuel out for new fuel. I'm going to try that. I swapped the filter out, so I'm hoping it's not that. I'm just wondering if it might be the volume of fuel, because there's a little valve on the side here that's always been on tank. The last time I had this apart, it was full of gunk and wasn't letting fuel through to this side of it to let fuel into the carb. So I'm going to bypass that and run the fuel in here direct and test it to see if that's the issue. If it keeps running, then I know that that's the problem, and I'll be able to take this apart again and see if I can get it to pass the fuel a bit better. The little valve apart, this thing, and it's now working fine. Doesn't seem to be any dirt in it. I'm going to give it that. So I'm going to take the carb off again, give it another good clean. One interesting thing is it's really hard to get this little screw out of here, which is the cable for the twist throttle. But if you flick the throttle, flick the choke down, there's a little hole through here where the choke blocks off the air, and you can get to the screw. Just a little tip. If you're ever taking one of these apart, look for different ways to get things apart. So I've got the carburettor apart. Doesn't look dirty. Normally the problems with the jets, what, does you see that little brass thing in there? That's where one of the jets is that allows fuel into the airstream that's going into the engine. There's nothing there, and we're going to take this ball off the bottom, which sometimes has dirt in it. If the valve's not working properly, that can sometimes stop fuel coming in. Okay, so we've had the carburettor apart, cleaned all that. Doesn't seem to be anything particularly wrong in there. Still not sure about this this tap on the side, but we'll have a look at that. I'm also going to have a look at the, it's not this one, but the squeezer bulb and line. Make sure the liner hasn't detached. Sometimes they detach and cause trouble when you're under flow, or the fuel's under flow when you're moving. Can't really show you this very easily with filming at the same time, but if you want to get a nut onto an awkward space, you see that, got to get it onto there. If you put it on a screwdriver and then put the end of the screwdriver on the end of the nut of the stud, and then you just tip this up, and then when you've got it close enough, you just let your finger go on it, and the nut will be on the end of the stud. Well, it's not very nice at the moment for the regatta. A lot of rangers suddenly decided to come down. Anyway, they've gone out for a race. So I'm off to the Heritage Museum this morning in Grimsby, and I guess we're going to see some history of these docks here, the old fish docks, which is where the marina is now. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. It'll be quite interesting. So this area here would have been the fish docks. This wall here, I think, would have been where they loaded wagons up with fish. And these buildings used to be smokehouses, but I think they're now wet fish shops. Anybody remember Ross Fish Fingers? Well, I guess this had been one of the trawlers that caught the fish that was in the fingers. This is an octant, not a sextant. Decker navigator. So that picks up radio signals from Decker transmitters. And this is an early GPS. And this is how they used to read speed with one of these hung over the stern. It would turn the cable and it would read on this dial here and tell you what speed you're doing. But back in the age of sail, these would have been the boats that caught the fish for us. This is a trawler's radio room. And this is the main bridge of the trawler. Would have been a tough old life shoveling coal.
The phase of the boat coming together then, you know. So you can spend it in sandwich.
Boats paid typically £5,000 on a trip, and half of that went on fuel and pay and costs. We went to watch the prize giving at the Sim. Nice day today in Grimsby Arena, but it's looking a bit ominous over there. That does not look like it's going to be a dry evening. Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're in for a bit of a storm. Looking at these clouds, not looking great over there and just starting to spit. Yep, I think you can hear the storm starting. This is one of the weather apps we use. It's a radar, live radar pictures of what's going on around you. You can see the storm. And on our last day in Grimsby, we took a trip down to Cleethorpes, the seaside resort just beside Grimsby. What's Mrs. Chaplin got to say?
Not a lot. It's actually a nice day. The actual water actually looks a bit cleaner than it did the day we came in.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I think it's all the silt, isn't it, in the water. Still quite a bit of traffic out there. There's a sand island down the bottom there. This is the Kiss Me Quick area of Cleethorpes, designed mainly for the youngsters, I think. Mary the cook has been busy doing some baking. So Mary's lit the oven. She's been busy doing some preparation for some baking. I think we're getting ginger biscuits. So this is the first real attempt with a new oven. So she said it could either be really good or a bit of a disaster. So what have you been up to? Is the cook ready for her interview?
Not really, but...
So what are you baking?
Well, I'm trying to do ginger biscuits.
And what's the prognosis then?
I don't know. We have to wait and see what happens. See if the oven cooks them or not.
The new oven. Okay. So what's in the biscuits?
Ginger.
It's fresh ginger, isn't it?
There's fresh ginger. There's stem ginger. Yeah.
Okay, so they're very gingery. So they should be okay if we're feeling slightly queasy. And the new oven's getting its first road test.
No, it's not. It's been used before, but it's getting its first road test at cooking biscuits.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll wait and see what appears then. So with the biscuits safely in the barrel, we set sail the following morning out of Grimsby Harbour in the very early light of 4 o'clock in the morning. Hope you enjoyed the video. Join us next time when
we go to Wells next to the sea with a very long, tricky entrance, curvy and very shallow in places.
We meet a famous horse on the beach and Mary gets to taste her home beer.
And we see a new RNLI boat shed being built, and we have to tog up to go and eat our evening meal in the Lowestoft Sailing Club. Very posh.
So like, subscribe, it's free honestly, and share with your friends and anybody else that you know, and we'll
click
see
the bell so you don't miss them.
Click the bell and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.